Oh man, the 5-minute quickie is here. 5 minutes of a podcast, which I know is going to last a lot longer, but it's all about seeing is dreaming, or science, or woo woo la la stuff, but it's all about really feeling and getting to feel the way you want as a habit. No negative feelings, the way you want it, because if you think about it, you'll get it, and I found a way to get you to think about it and to get it. You just have to listen. It's not that long, really, and it's a doozy. Have a listen after this. Hey, my friends, welcome. This is the Personal Development Unplugged podcast. What's it all about? Well, it's about improving ourselves, obviously personal development. It's with me, Paul Clough. Who am I? Well, I'm Paul Clough. I just said that. But what I do and have skills at or in is hypnosis, NLP, timeline therapy, and lots of other stuff. I teach the blooming stuff to everyone I can. Been doing it for years. But the thing about this podcast is it's sharing things that just work, deconstructing the things that are really difficult or made to appear difficult by people making them difficult. Maybe they want to keep them secret, I don't know. But we're going to deconstruct those type of things so we can use them for ourselves. And, as I say, self-develop. Get better in life. Get our goals, our dreams. Improve anything you want. The thing is, it's not just listening. There's things to do, because if you're just knowing this stuff, that's okay. But knowledge without doing, not really worth it, is it? So do, if you're listening, try. Do the things that we go through, the processes, the hypnosis tracks. Because when you put the effort in, the return on your investment will be enormous. Anyway, that's what we do here.
Warning. You are entering into the unplugged mind of Paul Clough. Too late. Personal Development Unplugged.
So, my friend, you're back with me again for another 5-minute quickie. I tell you what, we're getting close. We are getting close. Now, I've probably named this PDU, this FMQ, 5-minute quickie podcast, Seeing is Dreaming. Probably have. I don't know yet what I'm going to do because I'm recording it. Or it could be, is this science or woo woo la la stuff? See, I don't really care whether it's science or woo woo la la stuff. I'll tell you what I mean. Here's a saying. You get what you think about, whether you like it or not. Now, what does that mean? Well, we'll go through it a little bit and I'm going to get you to experience it. But here's a little story. It is a story. And it was at the opening of Epcot. And Walt Disney's brother was there at the opening. Walt Disney was dead. His brother was dead. And here was the big, brilliant opening. You know, it was such a big thing with all these wonderful different lands, all the different stuff in there. It was something completely different, wasn't it? You know, for the time, well, even now, but at that particular time, it was something, well, it was out of this world, on this world. And you see, Walt Disney's brother was talking to the press, and one particular person in the press came to him and said, "Oh, isn't it just a shame? Just a shame that Walt Disney didn't get to see this, didn't get to experience it, didn't get to feel what this is going to be like." And it went quiet. And Walt Disney's brother just looked at him. I think probably pretty intensely. And if you had one of those intense looks where you know where goes right into the brain. And he said, well, if Walt hadn't seen this, neither would we. Now you know where he saw it. Anyway, let's have a look at a different thing. Have you ever been with people who are constantly telling you, if it's going to happen, it's going to happen to me. If something bad's going to happen, yep, that's going to happen to me. If someone's going to miss this, it's going to happen to me. And what happens? It generally does, doesn't it? What's their life like? Other than telling people about they've got lots of stories of all the bad things that happen. But how good is their life? I just wonder. I certainly wouldn't want it. Have you got these type of people in your life? Or maybe you know of this type of person. They just seem to get lucky. They seem to be lucky. They always fall on their feet. They always seem to have a good time. Things just happen around them and it's always good. And their stories they tell you are always wonderful, entrancing stories, aren't they? Good things just to happen to them and around them. And it feels good around you. You actually, you feed off it, don't you? Unconsciously. What's their life like, do you think? Which would you choose? Now, that's a no-brainer, but having said that, have you ever said, if anything's going to happen, or in that type of form, not necessarily exactly that form, but have you predicted something's going to happen in a negative way? I think we all have, haven't we? And those type of things tend to happen. So we've got to think about what we're saying. And even if you don't say it out loud, it's what you think. The pictures you make in your mind. You see, go back to the original statement I said, you get what you think about, whether you like it or not. Is that science? Is it woo-woo la-la? Well, to me, it just bloody happens, doesn't it? And you see, I actually use this principle. And the effects are really quite weird. What are you talking about, Cloughie? Well, I tell you, I use this with my clients covertly. Before I see them, so in between having an initial consultation and the actual session, I get them to do something. And the thing they have to do, the vehicle I use, gets them to think about what will it really be like when all their issues have disappeared. Not just one, but all their issues have disappeared. All that negative emotions disappeared and any limiting beliefs. What would that mean to them? What type of person would they be? How big a feeling would it be? You know, sometimes it's like the real me. I'd be totally free to express myself. I'd be doing all the things I love to be the real me. It's that big. And I get them to think like that twice a day. Once in the morning, once at night. They can do it more, but twice a day for 5 minutes. That's all it takes. Less than 5 minutes probably. And that's all they have to do before they come and see me. I give them a little hypnosis track in between. So if you ever come to work with me, that's what you would have to do. Now, I said it was covertly. Well, you know now. But it doesn't matter, because when you do it, you'll get lost in it. And you start to think twice a day of how good it would feel, how life would be affected, and what it would be like to be in that life when everything has changed. And do you know what happens? They tend to come to that first session, and this is the majority, not the exception. So I can't say it's exact. So therefore, whether it's science or woo-woo, I don't know. But just my experience, majority of people come back and go, "Do you know what, Paul? Did you hypnotize me in that initial consultation that we did?" I said, maybe, maybe not. Certainly talked to both your conscious and unconscious minds, but didn't deliberately hypnotize you. And they always say, "Well, I don't know what it was, but I left away thinking differently." Well, that's obviously part of the initial consultation, isn't it? But over the days between then and now, each day my issues seem to get a little bit more distant, or my feeling, that negative feeling that I used to have, has diminished a little bit. I still get it, but it's nowhere near as bad. What did you do? What did you do? And I said, well, didn't do anything, but we started the process. I always tell people, you'll start the process before you even see me. And that's how it becomes so easy to change. And you see, that's just what happens. Now, what would you think is the best way to do it covertly, overtly, to do this type of thing, to get it to be a habit? What would happen if that was a habit that twice a day you just thought about what life would be like when it was right at the top of the mountain, when you're totally living your life? If you were to do that twice a day, you know, it's a no-brainer, isn't it? Certainly compared to thinking about things in the negative. You know, if you got this, if you did it morning and night, and then it became a habit, an unconscious habit. I mean, it could be like, you know, every time you listen to this podcast, the Personal Development Unplugged podcast, and you were just to feel good, what would that be like in the future? If every time you listen to me on this podcast, you were to feel absolutely brilliant, because you would, wouldn't you? Or am I just playing with you? Hey, it doesn't matter though, because playing or not, it would be a good thing to do. But no, back seriously, Cloughie. I wonder if you would do this for the next 7 days, just to test it, let's test the science. Test the woo-woo lala, because to me, I don't care whether it can't be proved. I just know it works. And if I know it works in my brain, it's done. Science can catch us up, and we're going to talk about that one day. Science always seems to prove it after the effect, because you have to have something to prove, don't you? Or disprove. But this is quite a no-brainer. What would it be like? No, not what would it be like. Let's just think of it this way, and I might even go through it with you very gently. But just think, if you were to, when you wake up, and sometime in the evening, or just as you close your eyes to go to sleep, think of what it would be like, and how, and this is the important bit, how would it feel to be living your life to the optimum? Now, you don't have to think about what all the bits and pieces. Just think, I've got everything I need. I'm connected. I'm doing what I love. Don't know what it is yet, but I'm following my path, my mission. Everything is so good in my life. How would that feel? What would it mean to you if it was like that? How would that affect different areas of your life? Now, it could be just as simple as this, where you just, and you can do it now if you want. Obviously, if you're going to close your eyes and do this, I'm going to do it just for 30 seconds-ish, maybe a minute. It's safe to do so. Just close your eyes. And as you close your eyes, just imagine, just like Walt Disney's imagination, Imagineering. Imagine, what would it feel like to be living your life way beyond your expectations, having so much fun, being connected, grounded, doing all the things you'd love to do? What would that feel like if you could be doing that? Imagine it now, and then become aware of those feelings. Just the feelings now. What would that be like? And when you have this feeling, that's right, this feeling, how would that enrich your life now? How would it change the way you do your career? How would it enrich your relationships? How would it enrich your social life? How would it enrich that relationship with yourself? And when you have that richness in your life, what would happen then? And then come back to me. That's it. That's all you have to do. Feel it and feel it and feel it and feel it, and then go about your daily days. Or go about your sleepy sleeps, whichever side of the day you did it. And that's all I want you to do. Do that for 7 days if you would. Morning and night. You could just, once you've played that, if you wanted to, play it as a rehearsal. But you know exactly what it is. What would it mean to you when I get everything I want? What would it feel? What would it feel like? And how would that feeling affect and enrich my life? And just think of the different contexts of your life. All the things about you and what you want. And notice 2 things. I'd like you to review it at the end of the week. Just notice, how did you do? And how did you feel in that week? How did you sleep? How energized were you? And then what happened? What happened different or differently in those 7 days? And you have to review it honestly. No, we're not going to make it up because this is science, not woo-woo la-la. But just check and notice, did your relationships change? Did your attitude at work change? Maybe your relationships or your communication at work or with your friends, in your social life or with your family. What changed? And sometimes what changed in them? And you see, don't stop there. We're going to take this. I've decided it's a new law. And it's the Cloughie's law of rinse and repeat. The PDU rinse and repeat law. Because I just want you to maybe do it again. If you notice something, do it again. And what you'll find is you'll do it unconsciously. And it won't necessarily be at morning and night. You'll just do it in the daytime. Or you'll suddenly just choose to feel differently. And your unconscious mind will look for the opportunities to feel that way. Rinse and repeat. Cloughie's law of R&R. And, here's the and. When you've done that for 7 days, you have to email me. You do, you have to. You have to email me feedback, and I'm going to say this much more clearly, Paul. feedback@personaldevelopmentunplugged.com. Just tell me what happened. Maybe you just write and say, nothing happened at all, Cloughie. Oh, law of R&R rubbish. But I know you won't. Not that you won't email me, but you'll just, even if it's one word going, great, awesome, what a week, just let me know. And you'll get a personal reply from your man here. And then we'll have some fun, because then we'll decide what else we can do. But just that little thing, if you would. And maybe, why don't you just share this to somebody? Say, look, this is this crazy thing I've listened to. It's a great podcast. It's one of the best you'll ever listen to. Big it up. Even if you don't feel that, big it up. And then, I don't know what I'm doing that for, but you big it up, share it with your friends, and let's compare at the end of the week. And it will be contagious. It'll be like paying forward. So just share it with as many people as you could. Let me know the results, the golden nuggets, all those things. Just remember, you get what you think about, whether you like it or not. So let's not even bother rolling the dice. It's a no-brainer. Let's get what we like and think about it, what we like. Okay? Until the next FMQ or the longer podcast, whichever is your liking. I'll see you really soon. Bye-bye. Cheers. Bottoms up. Nice one. Oh, that's lovely. Yeah, enjoy. Slange. Nice one. And that slips right into a new thing for the podcast about buying a cup of coffee. Did you know there's a site on the internet called buymeacoffee.com? Well, there is. And guess what? I'm there too. It's called Cloughie's PDU. And that's where, if you wanted to support this podcast by just buying a beer or buying me a coffee, it's something that will go a long way to keep this community growing. All you have to do is go to buymeacoffee.com, search for Cloughie's PDU, or if you go to the podcast website, which is personaldevelopmentunplugged.com, don't go to the index page or the first landing page. Just go to all podcasts, and you'll see in the margin there'll be a little sign there for buy me a beer or buy me a coffee. And if you do, I'll say cheers. Okay, and there's just a little bit on that Cloughie's PDU or buy me a coffee. I'll put a couple of little things in, but as it comes through, I hope there's a way that I can just show my appreciation the other way too, by maybe sending you a link to one or two things. Okay? And lastly, very lastly, just please remember, I organise a massive discount on my Create Your Inner Retreat hypnosis tracks. There's 4 of them. They're brilliant. They weren't expensive anyway, and now there's a massive, as I said, a massive discount on them. All you have to do is go to paulcloughonline.com/retreat, buy it, and then when it comes to the purchase part of it, where it says coupon, just write in retreat, RETREAT. You might have to do it in uppercase, I'm not sure, but it's retreat. Put it in, you'll get a massive discount, but it only lasts into the beginning of the new year. So please do take advantage of it. Remember, there's money back guarantees and all that stuff. So anyway, that's it. I'm off.
Warning, you are now leaving the unplugged mind of Paul Clough. It's time to fly on your own. Be brave, my friend.
Personal Development Unplugged.